At the ARM Development Summit, NVIDIA and ARM CEOs talked about the reasons behind their merger. And from the discussion, we get a good outlook of what the future of computing looks like. In these highlights, the two CEOs talk about the opportunities in artificial intelligence resulting from the combination of the two companies, like the development of software that writes itself for very complex tasks. They also talk about Moore's Law, automation, and the impact on the open source community. Let's take a listen.
We would like to create the computing company of the age of AI. As you know well, artificial intelligence is the most powerful technology force of our time. For the very first time, a computer can run software that writes software by itself, write software that no humans can, and achieve results that are quite spectacular. And so what we'd like to do is to unite the world leader in AI computing and the most popular CPU company in the history of computing. And by doing so, we're going to be able to bring our capability to the ARM ecosystem. And ARM will be able to give our accelerated computing, AI computing reach like never before. And together we'll be able to create solutions that are going to be great for customers, whether they're in the cloud or in the edge or autonomous machines and robotics or personal computing. We'll be able to create technologies and platforms that helps everybody grow. And so I think everybody's going to be super excited about this.
Well, yeah, computers are useless without the software that runs on them. And we're envisaging a world where there is just so much more pervasive computing than there is today, that computing platform changing to being one largely CPU-driven, regular code, procedural code, to a world of AI where software is writing software, software is checking software, software is learning from data. And that is just a completely different programming paradigm. So the hardware and the software are going to come together in different ways. And I think between us, putting the strengths of the companies together, we're going to be able to address that. We're going to be able to put tools into the hands of developers so that they can take all this great compute hardware and create amazing products from it. The hardware without the software is useless, so we've got to make it really easy for those two things to come together.
I love ARM's business model. As you know, I think the genius of ARM was the invention of this super energy efficient CPU architecture combined with this business model of licensing and having the wisdom of creating this vast ecosystem of computer makers and chip makers in just about every industry on the planet. That vision took 3 decades to realize, and I love that. I love the idea. I love the business model. I love the ecosystem that's been built, and so we have every intentions of protecting it, nurturing it, and growing this business model. And in fact, I want to add more to the business model. You know, one of the things that I really value about ARM is this network of partners and the ability of ARM to take what is very difficult designs and turn it into soft IP products that people could use. And it's something that I've always wished that we could do, and to take the NVIDIA architecture and to put it through the ARM's network so that companies of all different sizes and shapes and different industries could take advantage of our IP and allow us to extend the accelerated computing vision we have to all the industries. And so I'm super excited about it. You know, we want to give customers as many choices as possible. Every customer is not trying to build the same type of system. And some of the customers would probably want to design their own. And so we want to give the customers in the market as many opportunities to innovate and differentiate as possible. So, okay. We're going to continue to. Well, you know that software developers want several things. The first thing they want is they want a computing platform with a lot of capabilities so that they could write amazing software. That's the first thing. The second thing is they need the richness of the tools and the libraries and not to reinvent everything and to be able to be as productive as possible. But the most important thing that software developers want is they want a platform with large reach that is vibrant and growing. And this is what we're going to do with our combination. We're going to combine two of the most vibrant, most exciting computing ecosystems in the world. The largest one, of course, ARM's ecosystem, and the one that is developing very quickly with artificial intelligence, with NVIDIA's platform. And so we're going to be able to bring the NVIDIA developers to the reach of the ARM ecosystem, and we're going to add to the ARM ecosystem this exciting new capability called accelerated computing and AI, and so the developers are going to love it. That's ultimately, what they wish to have is a great platform with rich tools, but most importantly, that it has to be vibrant and rich and growing.
I can remember going to talk to our partners and they'd say, hey, we've just invested all this time optimizing the latest Linux kernel to the ARM architecture, and having that same conversation like every day for a week. And so there was a kind of penny drop moment for us where it's like, hey, this is crazy. We should leverage the glory of the ARM partnership and pool our resources to do this well, and provide some of the key components of open source out to the community, because that accelerates innovation. So that's why we set up Linaro in the first place. It's been a great success. It's been great to see so many partners contribute to that, and I think it's going to continue to be really important as we go forwards, because the open source software movement, that's here, it's growing, it's vibrant. We want to keep it going. Yeah, so from open source software to transistors. This issue about Moore's law slowing down, it's been with us for a long time. And while there's still a lot of innovation going on in materials science and semiconductor development, there's new transistor structures being designed as we speak. One thing that's been really important is how architecture needs to evolve. How, as we go forwards, putting different die together that were manufactured on completely different processes in really sophisticated packaging, that all matters. Being able to stack die together, do true 3D IC. These are the innovations that are going to keep semiconductor performance improving generation after generation. So as you know, we have a whole bunch of programs running to look at these, to work with our partners and try and address some of the really hard problems, so that these advanced technologies can become mainstream, can be used by people, just to keep innovation going.
Yeah, this is really exciting, and this you've heard Simon talk about this, and I've heard him talk about it publicly now for several years. We know that there's a whole new world of computing that's about to happen. Some people call it edge, some people call it IoT. The confluence of a couple of technologies are making it possible now for us to create autonomous, intelligent computers or machines that are doing skills all over the world. It could be driving a car, it could be driving a truck, it could be moving crates around in a warehouse, it could be doing fast checkout, it could keep keeping cities safe and keeping traffic flowing. It's almost as if the city is smart. It's almost as if the warehouse is smart. It's almost as if the retail store is smart. Now, that software that makes them smart is called artificial intelligence, and no human knew how to write that software until recently. We've now made it possible for us to create computers, develop softwares that write the software. Now that the software is ready, now that the software is possible, we realize that we're reminded of the fact that we're computer engineers, and computer science enables new markets. But it's up to the software developers that create the growth. Well, for the very first time, the engine of that growth is going to come from a piece of software written by a machine. Well, machines can write software a lot faster than we can, and we now know that the machines can write software that we know we can't write. And so for the very first time, it's now possible to imagine a world where we're creating these autonomous systems and computers all over the world. It's helping society perform all kinds of tasks. The software is being written by another computer. And so the expansion of computing over the next decade is going to be far, far greater than the expansion of computing over the last decade. That's the exciting part. That's the reason why the combination makes so much sense. NVIDIA has deep artificial intelligence capability. We know how to write the software of artificial intelligence. No computing platform has the reach of ARM ever created. And so the combination, I think, is just incredibly powerful that way. Simon?
Yeah, I think it's about delivering on that vision. When you think about it, AI has kind of grown up with huge data sets running in the cloud. We've been enabling endpoints and client devices If you try and take all the data from the edge of the network and you put it in the cloud and you do something with it and you send an answer back, that is massively inefficient. So computing and AI computing has got to go to where the data is. And that's what I think we've got an even greater chance of delivering on through the combination. Worrying about where the data lives, how we run and manage the software, where the compute is. It's going to be a vast network of computers in the future, and we can deliver on that.